Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to NFL players that almost died on the field. Crazy. I mean, these guys are obviously paid a lot of money, but for that money, they're putting their bodies through a lot of punishment. Some of these collisions are brutal, truly brutal. A lot of, brain injuries as well. I think CTE is becoming quite a big problem in American football. And, even beyond that, there's got to be plays where a player gets seriously hurt to the point of, almost dying. It happens in other sports like rugby as well. Probably like Formula One motorsports, it probably happens a lot too, but it's just got to be really shocking for not just the players and obviously the player who the victim of it, but also the crowd too. Imagine watching that, like seeing a player, potentially fighting for his life on the field. It must be horrific. So yeah, this video is going to be a pretty crazy one. Let's do it.
Every sport in the world has some sort of risk involved in the players getting injured or possibly dying. Maybe not curling. But what if a player slips and lands hard on his head? And in a sport like football, where every second there are colossal players charging at you like angry bulls? Here's a list of some NFL players that are lucky to be alive. One such player was Darryl Stingley. Little did the Patriots wide receiver know that the preseason game in 1978 was going to be his last ever, as he horrifyingly collided with Jack Tatum, the Raiders' defensive back. Stingley's helmet came into contact with Tatum's shoulder pad so severely that it compressed his spinal cord, but also broke his fourth and fifth cervical vertebrae and resulted in paralysis. The incident was dubbed as the most violent play in the NFL. Famous for his aggression, Tatum wasn't so good at heart, as Stingley revealed that he never heard from Tatum after that incident. You paralyze a fellow player and you don't even check up on them? How low?
Yeah, that is just, oh my God, how could you?
Was that? Stingley said, "He has not contacted me, not even a mystery postcard. The bottom line is that I feel sorry for him. He's a man that can't really bend to be a man. Sitting in my wheelchair, I'm taller than he is." Poor Stingley could only gain back some movement in his right arm. He was 26 at the time and was just a few days away from signing a new contract that would have made him the highest earning player in the NFL. This next player also met a terrible injury at a young age when he was set to be one of the best in the future.
Imagine you're on top of the world, you're about to become the highest paid player, and then bang, your life just changes overnight. It's scary, honestly.
Player who was all set for future glory, Ryan Shazier, who was also expected to be crowned the 2017 Defensive Player of the Year, witnessed his dreams turn to dust as he faced a career-ending injury in December of 2017. In a match between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals, Shazier crashed his head into an opposing player and collapsed on the field, leaving him unable to feel his legs. He was quickly taken to the hospital, where it was revealed that the talented linebacker had damaged his spine. Due to suffering from spinal contusion, he was told that he only had a 20% chance of walking ever again.
Oh my gosh.
So tragic. He went through a spinal stabilization surgery and was put on the reserves list. He was eventually moved to the retired list in the beginning of 2020, making the end of his short but successful career. He is now recovering and is optimistic.
Wow, he's recovering. Given 20% chance of walking, and he's now walking. Unbelievable.
About a return to the field, and has also started a charity for the spinal injury patients to help with rehabilitation and costs. This next player also took up advocacy.
I can't believe he's considering returning to the game. I get it, it's a very lucrative career, but man, would you really risk another spinal injury?
After his injury didn't allow him to continue playing. Another player who faced a similar fate was the Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Ricardo Lockett. He was a prolific player and one of the fastest out there. He was signed as an undrafted free agent by the Seahawks in 2011 and had spells with the 49ers and the Bears, before ultimately returning to and winning the Super Bowl with the Seahawks in 2014. They made it to the Super Bowl again the following year, but lost to the Patriots. However, Lockett's green patch in his career was short-lived, as he sustained an injury so severe it could have meant death for him. On November 1st, 2015, in a game against the Cowboys, Lockett took a hit from the Cowboy safety, Jeff Heath, and was knocked motionless on the field. The paramedics took him out on a stretcher, and on his way out, he put both his wrists in the air to send a message that he was okay and would be back soon. But, in reality, he was far from okay. He sustained severe neck ligament damage as a result of the tackle. According to him, if he stood up at that time, or his teammates came over and pulled his arm slightly, or if the opposition player fell on him during the tackle, he might have died. Yes, that is exactly how close to death he was. Lockett announced his retirement from the NFL the following year and said the injury constituted 50% of his decision. Unlike Jack Tatum, Heath did express his remorse over the outcome and said that he would pray for the injured Lion. Following his recovery, Lockett became an advocate for spinal cord injury research with the Seattle Science Foundation. He didn't let his downfall get to him and now travels around the world and is fit and having a great life.
That's awesome. I mean, parents who are watching this, who have kids that want to get into the NFL one day, are you ever scared of stuff like this? Does this worry you? You know, the potential for this kind of injury and the brain injuries and stuff. Does it worry you? Like my sisters, like they said that they wouldn't want their kids playing rugby, you know, or any kind of sport like this, full contact. And I don't really blame them. It's just, I know it's probably really rare for something like this to happen, but the risk is still there. So would you stop your kid from playing full contact football? Let me know.
Washington Redskins quarterback Alex Smith was another victim of career-ending injuries. The talented quarterback was the first overall pick in the 2005 NFL Draft, signed by the San Francisco 49ers. He had an amazing 2017 season, as he topped the league in passer ratings with a rating of 104.7. However, little did he know what was to come. He moved to the Redskins in 2018, and in a game against the Texans, was delivered the final blow of his 16-year-long career. The Texans' Kareem Jackson and J.J. Watt tackled Smith, who sustained a spinal compound fracture, which shattered both the tibia.
Oh God, look at his leg.
Sustained a spinal compound fracture, which shattered both the tibia and fibula of his right leg, after his right leg was trapped in an awkward angle. As if things weren't bad already, his injury got infected, and he almost had to get his leg amputated. He had 17 surgeries. Yes, you heard that right, 17. He was slowly recovering and could walk with the help of an external fixator. Everyone believed his career to be over. But Smith was determined to make a comeback. He started practicing again, and even though motion and changes of direction were a challenge, throwing wasn't a problem for him. He even resumed playing basketball with his kids. However, he ultimately saw that it wasn't possible and announced his retirement from the NFL in April of 2021.
Yeah,
one of the key players of the Chicago...
I mean, at least he had a 16-year career. That's a long career, you know. But I can imagine it hurts to lose what you love. I get it.
Bears in the 2011 season, Johnny Knox, suffered from a gruesome injury that put a stop on his career forever. With the season approaching its end, in a game between the Bears and the Seahawks, the ball was passed to Knox, who lost his balance as well as the ball. In an attempt to regain possession, the wide receiver leaped at the ball, but so did others. In the scuffle that followed, he collided with the Seahawks defensive player Anthony Hargrove. Because of the huge pileup that resulted, nobody could tell what happened.
It looked like he got bent backwards.
But down there was Johnny Knox, stiff. He was stretchered off the field and taken for treatment. In the aftermath, it was discovered that due to the head-on collision, his torso was pushed back to such an extent that his back touched his butt, and as a result, fractured multiple vertebrae of his. Yeah, you heard that right. Due to the nerve damage he suffered from, he had to undergo spinal fusion surgery. After going...
And that, you know, when they fuse parts of your spinal column, you lose the mobility, you know, like Oh, gosh.
Through rehab, Knox couldn't set another foot in the field as he announced his retirement in 2013 due to the injury that put his life in danger. However, if there was one injury that changed the sport of football more than any other, it was this next one. Lastly, we have the Patriots' legendary quarterback, Drew Bledsoe. Yes, he almost bled to his death. His injury was one that changed the NFL forever, as it paved the way for the future of the game and the greatest NFL player of all time. After facing some dark times during the 90s, Drew came as a ray of hope for the Patriots as he took them to the Super Bowl, which they ultimately lost, but still it was something. The Patriots were improving, and Bledsoe was at the center of it all. He was also at the center of a tackle that nearly killed him. On September 3rd, 2001, in just the second game of the season, Mo Lewis of the New York Jets tackled Drew so hard it ruptured a blood vessel. He got up a few minutes later and it looked as if everything was okay. But it really wasn't. He was taken to the hospital in an ambulance, and he passed out before even reaching. It was discovered that a torn blood vessel behind his rib was pumping blood in his chest. The doctors feared that he might breathe his last any moment, as it took 2 days to stop the bleeding. However,
2 days? What? Why?
were successful, and he was declared okay. But guess what went on behind him? In his place, a young quarterback who he thought was just a bench warmer was subbed on. His name was Tom Brady, and the rest, as they say, is history. That wraps up the video. Let us know which injury do you think was the worst.
Crazy, terrifying to be honest. You know, I used to play rugby at uni. I loved it. You know, I was a winger, so I wasn't really involved in a lot of the physicality. I still got tackled and made tackles, but you know, I wasn't a lock or a flanker or anything like that, or a second row. But I mean, the thought of, God forbid, you know, losing the ability to walk as a result of playing a sport that, you know, I loved is terrifying. It's scary, man. Honestly, it really is. You know, I feel bad for all of the people on this list. I wonder, you know, would they, if they could go back and maybe make a different career choice, would they? I imagine most would consider it. I know that they probably made, even if their career was quite short, they probably made a decent amount of money, but you know, to either to lose the ability to walk or to suffer, you know, a really life-threatening injury, it's something nobody would want. You know, even if you know, could earn millions along the way, it's just. And guys, like I asked in the video, would you know, are you having second thoughts about letting your kids play football? You know, are you considering other sports? Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.